Hello, welcome back, Lotus Chat ladies. Today we have all 5 of us. Say hello to Matilda. Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
And we've got Jazzy and Jenn and Laura. Thank you so much for, thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for listening in again. This week, we are going to talk about episode 58, where we're going to dive into books that really inspired us. So just a little disclaimer, we know for those of you who are in their own faith, there are books that resonate with you, like the Bible, the Quran, and many other books. But in this episode, we are not going to talk about that. And I'm sure those are very influential books, including myself. So we're going to talk about books that we read every day at the cafe, at the beach, and, anywhere you want, and books that really kind of inspired us in many ways. Yeah. So maybe Jenn, if you want to let us know what is the first book that, the book that really inspired you in some ways.
Deanne, thank you for that introduction. It was very difficult for me to narrow down because there have been so many books in my life that have really touched me. Quotes that I've literally highlighted and written in notebooks, binders as a kid that have, just been ones that I go back to all the time. I would have to say, for me, the first book that came to mind, and I wish I could discuss them all, but time constraint, is this wonderful book, The Alchemist. I'm sure many of you out there, our readers and listeners, have probably, our viewers and listeners, have probably seen this book at your local library, and it is one that I know has touched many lives since it came out, and it is definitely on the top of my top 5. And the story of the book, just as a small little concise preface here, is that it is about an Andalusian shepherd boy named Santiago who goes on a journey. And for me, I felt it was a journey of self-discovery in reading the book. And to me, the book itself is about our dreams and how powerful those can be, and the importance of listening to our hearts and how we encounter the divine when we meet love, when we fill ourselves with love. There are many quotes I took from it when I read it in college, and I've actually read it many times since then, when I have a chance. And I've actually added quotes from the book to, as I mentioned, not only to notebooks, but to like profiles and status shares, and I've shared them with friends and family, and I'm going to share 2 of the ones that really touched me and were very powerful to me. And the first being, don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. And tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. And when I read those 2, I was like, wow, yeah, it makes so much sense. I mean, when it comes to the heart, when it comes to following one's dream, when it comes to following your heart, it really puts you in tune with the divine and with the energy that those things entail. Just how beautiful it is to just go in the direction of those things that you're passionate about, to go in the direction of the people that make your heart sing, to be in those experiences and those moments, and to be on that journey that just, you're like, I love it. I love what I'm doing. I love where I'm at. I mean, at the time when I read it in college, I was so filled with dreams. I was so filled with ideas about what I wanted to do with my future. Was I going to be a professor because I had a degree in art history? Was I going to go down that route and teach others about art and history? Or was I going to do something completely different? And I don't know if all the listeners and viewers out there know, but I had a really big passion growing up for fine arts. So I love to draw. I love to paint. I didn't know. I was like, which way was I going to go? And I think part of this book that touched me even more was the fact that it was making me think, like, where was my heart going to take me? What journey was I going to go down? And in that essence, like, you know, if I give these dreams, these thoughts, these hopes to the divine, would I listen, even if it was a completely different direction from what I could ever imagine? But anyways, these are all thoughts back in college, and nowadays when I read it, I get the same thoughts. Are my hopes and dreams really aligned with my heart? And so that's what I would like all of our viewers and listeners to take from this book. And please pick it up if you have not had a chance. Peruse it, see what comes out for you.
Wow, that's so beautiful, Jenn. And it's amazing how like books that you read when you're in college and then you reread it again at a different phase of your life. And then, you know, sometimes you get different things speaking to you through those words. So that's really beautiful. Yeah. And maybe Jazzy, if you want to share with us your book.
Yes, and I'm excited for the future shares because I agree, this is difficult to be able to narrow down. But what I will share is this book that I absolutely love. It's like my Bible and handbook. It's been through so much already, but this is A Choice for Love by Barbara Deangelis. I absolutely love this book. It's been the basis and foundation for a lot of my inspired work that I do on my other podcasts, and also within the work that who I be in life. So this book inspires revolutionary shifts and just activation within oneself when it comes to the relationship and the energy of love. So how we be, how we do it, how we continue to process it and exercise what we know about that. I feel like it's definitely an invitation to an enlightened experience of love. And so this is, it's very activating in the way that it lifts the vibration, it takes off the veils, it allows you to see under the shadows and learn how to bring compassion and forgiveness, truly developing like skills and practice. There's a lot of great mantras within this, and it activates the connectedness to yourself and the world around you. So I'm going to share a little something as well from this book. It's a part that is loving yourself from awake to awakened. Awakening is simply the direct perception of reality without any filters getting in the way. No projections, no beliefs, no interpretations. Awakening is a process of recognizing that reality over and over and over again. So awakening is not a one-time discovery, but rather an endless rediscovery, a continual deepening into this radiant aliveness that we are and have always been. So, and I'm going to keep this short and concise and ask you all some empowering questions that they actually listed on the back of the book. Hopefully this piques your interest, but here we go. So what if you could learn how to be in love all the time? What if you could discover a power in your heart far greater than anything you could imagine? What if you could become an irresistible, overflowing field of love that uplifts and blesses everyone you know or meet? This is what awaits you when you make the choice for love. So that's my piece on the choice for love. And I hope you make the choice for love. Pick up this book, do yourself a favor, because very insightful. It's amazing. So it's your fairy godmother in paper form. So
oh, thank you for sharing, Jazzy. Thank you so much. Yeah, and you're right. Like reawakening happens multiple times, not just once. Yeah. Okay, let's hear it from Matilda.
Hello. Well, the book that is this book, The 5 a.m. Club. You know, I didn't think myself to be a morning person, but I kept hearing all this, oh, you need to get up at 5, it's gonna change your life, you gotta get up at 5. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna read this book. And the byline on it says, own your morning, elevate your life. And it was slow reading at first, but something that stood out for me was this. It says, each one of you carries a quiet genius and a triumphant hero within your hearts. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. And that's my takeaway for this book. It's all about change. In order to evolve into our greater self and to self-actualize, change is necessary. And so this kind of just delves into the method of the madness behind getting up at 5 a.m., having a routine. But basically, it's all about embracing your inner genius and getting that 5 a.m. rush that comes. And it's amazing. It's amazing how your perspective changes when you arise early. You have your quiet time. You know you're going to meditate. You know you're going to journal. You know you're going to exercise. And it becomes a time when you can really, before all the world around you starts with the hustle and bustle, you can really turn within, and it seems like an ongoing thing, into your heart and let your heart speak. And as you let your heart speak, it guides you. It guides you into the path that you're supposed to take. And so that's really one of my most favorite experiences with that book. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Pick it up, read it.
Woohoo! That's a really popular book, Matilda.
It is.
And
It's very popular.
yeah,
It's very popular. I understand why now. Yeah.
yes. I think the title is very catchy, and at the same time, yeah, I agree with you that, you know, when you wake up early and you get that moment where you can, you know, have a moment for yourself to kind of recalibrate and, you know, journal and exercise, that kind of helps.
Yeah. It seems like it's a self-help book, but the tidbits, the wisdom that comes forth with some of the things the author shares, it was amazing when you understand why you do what you're doing. And even the psychology and the physiology, that's really what caught my attention, the psychology and the physiology behind that early rise. It's really holistic. It touches every part of you to be able to delve into that. So
That's great. Yeah. So Laura, do you want to share with us your book?
Yes, listeners, these ladies told me I could only do one. And so it was hard, but I'm going to take a little different tact. The book that I chose is about motherhood. And I think that even if those of us who are listening aren't mothers, you can be a mother figure to someone. So this is really about women. But the book is called Tell Me About the Night I Was Born, and it's by the actress Jamie Lee Curtis. And my former husband and I went through infertility, and we didn't think that we could have a child. And in order to make this a very short story, we received the gift through independent adoption of my son. And every book that I got was about growing the baby in your tummy, going to the hospital, having the baby. And we had agreed that we always wanted to be honest with him, but it's kind of a different conversation to have. And so I was in the car taking Logan home from daycare, and he said to me, "Did I grow in your tummy at 3 years of age?" And I'm like, I guess we're having the conversation now. And so I explained to him the gift of adoption and that another lady grew him in her tummy, but she grew him for us, and that he was our boy. And what a gift. I told him he was a gift from God. And so I've had a friend who found this book, Tell Me About the Night I Was Born. And I wish I had it to show you, but Logan has it with him at his apartment. And we read it every night, and it talks about how excited. Tell me about how excited you and Dad got when you got the call. Tell me about how you got to where the birth mother was. Tell me about Grandma and Grandpa and how they screamed in the phone when you called to tell them I was on my way. Tell me how you got me home. Tell me how I threw up on you the first time. And it goes through the whole thing, but it talks about, tell me about how much you love me, and tell me about how you chose me. And it's a wonderful book about love and birth in a different way. And so we talked about it. He was an inquisitive little kid. And so one day he said, "Mommy, I'm supposed to take my favorite book to school." And I said, "Okay, what's your favorite book?" And he wanted to take that book. So I went and picked him up from preschool, and they said, please never bring this book again. There were 3 teachers. The first teacher got through a third of it and couldn't stop crying. The second teacher couldn't stop crying. And the third teacher finally wrapped up this like 12-page book. But the reason that this book is one that I'm bringing forward is no matter where you are in life, there are gifts that we don't know where they're going to come from. We don't know what they're going to look like. It didn't look like the package that we envisioned in having a child. And yet it was the greatest gift. It also showed us that we could have these honest conversations in a very honest way without being afraid or without trying to figure out a different way. But every time people read the book and they know our story, they get teary-eyed because it's so beautiful about motherhood, how excited you are, and a child that says, tell me again my story. And it's those stories about ourselves and about our kids that are so important. And this book is a story about many families, but it's a story of ours. And that's why it meant so much to us. And so that book is one that we talk about still to this day. And as I said, it's in my son's library in his apartment, and he still has it out. So that book has meant a lot to my family.
Aww. Wow, Laura, that was beautiful. Now I know one new thing about you.
I know, I was just thinking the same
Yeah, I
thing.
never knew that.
That is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, and you inspired me to get this book for a friend. Like really, yeah, because that perspective is amazing when you're going through it. Yeah.
That's a big question if you're seeking alternative ways to have a family.
Yes.
It's always a question, how do we say it? Do we have to hide it? What do we do? How do we make it feel like it's, but this book tells you this is your story, be proud of it.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, Laura.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna share my book that impacted me. Out of the 3, I chose this book. This is a book called Quiet by Susan Cain. I think I was first attracted, I don't really know Susan Cain at the beginning, but I was attracted to the title of the book. And what really attracted me was that how she talks about the power of introverts in a world that could not stop talking. And I think I relate to that because growing up, I grew up in a very extroverted environment. My dad's a motivational trainer, so you can imagine like every time when he's at work, it's all about loud noises, music, people coming up everywhere. Everyone's always in my face, you know, but I know deep down in my heart, I'm just not that kind of girl. I'm a really shy introvert and really quiet girl, especially when I was growing up, like even more. And I think from there, I had that sense that, you know, the extroverts are more the better type of people, and the introverts are the you better buck up kind of people. And I think I grew up with that mentality. That's why it took me a really long time before I could, you know, settle on the idea of even doing training and coaching, because in my mind, to be a trainer or a coach, you got to be extrovert. You got to be, you know, loving the limelight, which is not my favorite thing in the world, to be honest. So, but I learned from Susan Cain that when you are really passionate about a topic, when you're really into it, when you're really like, you really believe, you know, in that certain topic that you really resonate with, then you can actually at that moment in time become that momentary extrovert to speak about something that really resonates with you. And she also talks about how I can learn to be, you know, to appreciate the qualities of my introversion, to appreciate the qualities of how I prefer to, you know, be at the quiet corner, to read a book rather than to speak, you know, how I prefer to listen more than to talk. And I learned to use all these strengths of being an introvert to really kind of thrive in this training and coaching business. So that's why I really, really love this book. And I want to encourage like women who's listening out there, and they may not be as extrovert as your friend next to you. They could be an introvert. They could be shy like me. And I just want to encourage you that you could use your own strength and talents and qualities in your own ways. You know, we don't have to be loud and extrovert to excel. And that would be my favorite book.
Sam, thank you for sharing that. I definitely wrote that one down. I would love to tap into that on my journey of unmasking and taking off the layers and allowing myself to just be fully accepting of my authentic self. That's what I learned even this last weekend. That was actually my breakthrough. So was knowing that I'm a conditioned extrovert. And so introvert is my natural, like comfortable state. This is where like I thrive and create and all these things. But I also felt like it wasn't okay to be introverted. Like in order for me to be successful, I needed to be XYZ in extroversion, and it's out of my character. So definitely taking you up on that one. That sounds very powerful. So
that's amazing. Yeah. So do you girls have anything else you'd like to share before Jenn closes? No?
I would first and foremost like to thank each one of the Lotus ladies today for sharing their favorite book. I know how tough it is to narrow things down, especially because we've all read so many over the course of our lives. And I'm so glad that our listeners and our viewers are here with us today for another week, another episode. And just to recap, the books that we mentioned today, please, if you have a chance, definitely pick up, take a look, write some notes, journal about any of these books that were mentioned. And the books that we mentioned today were Choice for Love, The 5 a.m. Club, Tell Me About the Night I Was Born, Quiet by Susan Cain, and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners out there also have their favorite books. So if there are any books that you would like us to check out, please put it in the comment section below. Send us an email at lotuschatworldwide@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and expand our horizons and our minds, continue that journey. And moving forward, also, if you would like us to discuss a topic that particularly resonates with you, we are always open for ideas. So definitely send those our way. You can even direct message us at our Instagram profile you see on the screen there. And we would love to connect with you. And moving forward also, next episode. So we're trying to discuss what our next episode would be. We will probably be discussing something related to, Zian, can you just remind me what the title was? Just
we haven't really quite nailed down the title, but something along the lines of a hustling culture or not, discussing about how everyone is in that hustling, busy, productive, like let's go, go, go kind of culture. But then maybe sometimes we don't have to, and we get to take our time to, pause and just follow the flow.
Thanks, Zian, for that quick synopsis there. So yes, check us out next week. We will be discussing that, and follow us on YouTube, Spotify podcast. We will also be sharing a lot of that also on our individual profiles. So please share those with your friends. Tell your friends and family to join us each week. We love you guys. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you soon.
make sure you follow and subscribe. Turn on your notification bell.
Yay!